60 Minutes and the FBI just did a show about this guy Manning and how they knew before he ever did what they claim he did, that he was dangerous and he wasn't loyal to the United States. Well, the FBI and 60 Minutes are definitely not loyal to the United States because they are involved in many things. But the most incredible is the cover-up of 9/11. And for instance, Dan Rather, an extremely prominent reporter of CBS and 60 Minutes, reported on 9/11 at about 5:20 in the afternoon that Building 7 collapsed, and then never said another word about it. And the 9/11 Commission never said anything about it. And on July the 12th of 1991, after Bush was inaugurated and before September 11th, of course, July 12th, there was an incredible argument with Thomas Pickard, the director of the FBI, in Ashcroft's office. Ashcroft was his boss, the Attorney General, extremely close to President Bush. And in that argument, which was quoted in the book The Commission, written by Philip Shannon on page 247, there was this spectacular story that Pickard was trying to explain to his boss that he needed to listen to the CIA concerning the attack that would be coming by Al-Qaeda, Osama bin Laden. And the response from Ashcroft was, "Don't ever tell me about that again. I don't want to hear that." Well, that infuriated Pickard, and Pickard leaped into Ashcroft's face. Try to picture this. The director of the FBI is so pissed, he leaps into the face of Ashcroft, the Attorney General, because he doesn't want to hear about this attack. Now, Philip Shannon put it in his book on page 247, but where it didn't go was the New York Times, the paper that Shannon worked for, who was covering the 9/11 Commission. I'm talking about Shannon. So now we have CBS at 60 Minutes, Dan Rather, who watches the Building 7 collapse and never reports it again after 9/11. Isn't that an incredible, is that a coincidence? Could that possibly be a coincidence? That no reporter at the World Trade Center on 9/11 ever reports the collapse of Building 7. Now, this is a building that nothing hit. I don't care what they say. We saw the two planes hit, okay? And there's astronomical explanations about why those buildings crashed, and they definitely weren't because of the plane and the ball of fire, poof, that blew, that completely burned up the jet fuel like this quick, okay? And then there were some drapes and desks and rugs and other stuff like that that burned in a very black smoke fire, which is the least amount of heat. I mean, the whole thing just is preposterously ridiculous and absurd that people would believe it. But the problem in this country is people don't want to discuss it. Okay? If you try to call C-SPAN when they have call-in shows and start to mention 9/11, that it wasn't the baloney, the propaganda that the media has just completely driven down our throats every day and night about 9/11 and how it's not safe, and we have wonderful Bush kept us safe, even though he's the one that ordered it. He's the one that created the spectacular conspiracy to bring those buildings right down on top of people who were told, by the way, in the South Tower that came down first, that everything was okay. In the North Tower, oh, go back up into your building now, because it's all okay. The firefighters, the first responders that building came crashing down on top of was all set by the detonation created by the Bush team of conspirators that would bring the buildings down on top of all these people in order to get us into this war right away in Afghanistan and a little later in Iraq. That's what Bush wanted. That's what was stated in a book written by the Treasury Secretary, Paul O'Neill. Is Paul O'Neill a liar about this meeting that Bush held right after he was inaugurated? And if he was a liar about attacking Iraq, then why didn't Colin Powell, Condoleezza Rice, and other people, there were many other people in this meeting who never questioned what Paul O'Neill put in his book about wanting to start a war in Iraq by any means necessary. So we have real problems inside the United States. And this guy Manning, well, isn't it amazing that now all of a sudden this incredibly derogatory information pops up out of 60 Minutes about this Manning guy? What happened? Well, they knew about it ahead of time, right? That's what they said on the show. And now all of a sudden we find out about it. And by the way, one more thing, and then I'm gonna end for the moment. Colleen Rowley was a special agent in Minnesota where they captured on August the 16th one of the hijackers, Zacharias Moussaoui, and then the headquarters of the FBI explicitly prevented the Minneapolis FBI office to go after the rest of these hijackers. And Colleen Rowley was so angry after her 24-year experience at the FBI that she quit in disgust with the FBI headquarters that she wrote very cordially to repeatedly and was just rebuffed. So you see, there's no doubt about who the traitors need to get locked up, and I'm talking about this 60 Minutes crew. And believe me, I knew about that long before 9/11. Okay? Because I had a meeting at 60 Minutes about a big Wall Street fraud that they covered up. So you don't know. You only know what they come up with, okay? But just think about it. Why would this all of a sudden pop up about this Manning guy when they knew about it for so long, according to them, according to the FBI, and so on? These people are buffoons. And the problem in the United States is American people are just ignorant. And they're just so, they're hypocrites. And they've been completely put into a deep trance by this propaganda from the media. And I intend to file lawsuits against the media. As soon as I get done with this criminal case I'm involved in, that I'm a defendant in, then we'll go after the media. And we'll just start here in Connecticut. And along those lines, by the way, there was a hearing that I attended in New Haven that was the Second Circuit when Bush's cousin, John M. Walker Jr., was on the panel in a 9/11 case that was brought by April Gallup. And now, it doesn't take, it would take a total moron not to know. Well, if Bush's cousin is involved in this knockout of this legitimate complaint by a woman who was in the Pentagon, who didn't see any plane, any parts of any plane in the Pentagon, because it wasn't a plane, it was a missile. So some general or admiral was ordered to fire a missile into the Pentagon, which happened to murder 125 people who worked in the Pentagon. Okay? And April Gallup, fortunately, was injured but not murdered. And that's why she brought the lawsuit. In the meantime, Flight 77 disappeared in some location where all the people on the plane were taken off and murdered. But that's at first I thought, wow, that's pretty horrific. But then hey, what do you mean? 65 on a plane murdered in some secret airfield where they brought this plane? And 2,700 at the World Trade Center. So 65's a drop in a bucket. Okay? That just, keep this real here. About CBS, about the FBI, and about the entire media that conspired to not report Building 7. You see? The third building that fell. Okay? Let's just keep going here.